Sailor here on Drive. Now, Origin Energy has this afternoon confirmed that there's been a breach on their customers' data. In a statement that was released via the ASX, the company says it's still working to understand the total number of affected customers. They're going to contact any impacted customers when they have confirmation. But there's one expert who says this poses a longer-term scam risk, and they want to highlight a need for better encryption of data. We're joined now by Associate Professor Nalin Arachchilage from the School of Computing Technologies at RMIT. Good afternoon, Nalin.
Good afternoon, Jess. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, look, Origin have said, look, the exposed information, it might include names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, account details. What could a criminal do with that combination of information?
That's right. Origin Energy has confirmed the cyber attacks resulted in unauthorized access to customer data. So initially they said potential security breach. Now they confirmed they do have around 4.8 million customer account, and also a hacker, sort of an anonymous threat actor, what we call, claimed to have access to over 2 million customer records, such as you rightly mentioned, names, addresses, emails, date of birth, phone numbers, billing payments history, and so on and so forth. So they also mentioned clearly Origin has notified the Australian Cybersecurity Centre as well as Australian Federal Police, and also engaged with the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner. They are in the process of forensic investigation to determine the full scope, actually. So the other side of the situation, flip side of the coin, is actually when you think about the stolen data today, such as energy data breach from Origin, could be used to decrypt because what they're saying is names, addresses, emails, date of birth, phone numbers, but they do not talk about, they've clearly mentioned that, such as information such as credit card details as well as a bank account details are not believed to be affected.
Yeah.
Yes, because they are being encrypted.
Yeah.
So what happened, the quantum computers becomes the reality. Yeah. The attacker might be able to use these quantum computing capabilities to decrypt that information at some point later.
Yeah, so I guess that I was kind of pointing out that, like, you know, the data that, you know, the names, addresses, date of birth, all of that stuff, I mean, that can be used to hack into a lot of different other things. That's before we even get to the credit cards that they say, yes, only partial credit card or bank account numbers have been exposed, but you're sort of saying, well, that's not really reassuring. What should customers be watching out for in the coming days and weeks?
I think that's actually very right, because what we call in technical word credential stuffing, stolen data can be used to access to other systems across Australian systems, critical infrastructure systems that we have today. So I think we might be experiencing potentially another waves of cyber attacks based on this information. The illegal threat actors, anonymous threat actors, might be able to access to some of the systems like National Insurance Disability Schemes or GovID systems or some other systems using stolen credentials. So that is atrocious.
Absolutely. Okay, so the thing is, we have seen a lot of major breaches lately, right? Optus, Medibank, Qantas. Last week, I think it was Partnered Health. So why are these large organisations still struggling to keep their customer information safe?
I think the technology is so complicated today that we are kind of at the moment struggling with technologies like large language models, agentic AI systems. Some of the AI technologies are talking to another AI technologies, but then how do we ensure the secure, trustworthy, privacy-preserving communication with the technology that we are actually interacting with? And also the other part of the problem is when general public is interacting with these technologies, there's a lack of explainability how these models work, particularly the security mechanisms or privacy mechanisms, or how do we trust the systems. That's another problem, the lack of design. And also the other problem would be legislation and regulations, because government really need to think about hardening their critical infrastructure legislation and registrations. Part of the problem is, look, they clearly talks about the SOCI Act, what we call Security of Critical Infrastructure Act, introduced in 2018. They're clearly talking about hardening 11 critical industries across Australia. So that is very important. But then we also need to think of developing our cybersecurity capabilities in terms of technical capabilities, operational capabilities, as well as physical capabilities to harden critical infrastructure, because energy is one of the important critical infrastructure industries that they have highlighted.
Okay, so with all that in mind, the fact is, you still have to get energy. You will have to sign up to an energy company, and you do have to give those details as to how you're going to pay them or whatever. So is there anything that we can do as customers to better protect our data in this day and age?
I think they need to be vigilant about the information that they're going to disclose, using strong username and, password. Enabling multi-factor authentication would keep them secure. And also try to use a different username and password, perhaps across the system that they're using, particularly the critical infrastructure systems such as the water, energy, electricity, aviation, manufacturing, transport, so on and so forth. So having that proper cybersecurity best practices and hygiene would help them to keep them secure, and also be vigilant about any phishing email, phishing messages they come across in their day-to-day life, because the attackers might not break into the critical infrastructure straight away. They might try to compromise, break into people's mindset, trying to entice them to click on a link or download malicious IT applications, or responding to that message with a sensitive information such as username, password, or get their traffic to the website where they could steal these online credentials of their banking account. So attacker might use those social engineering techniques or tactics. Be vigilant about it.
Vigilance, it seems, is the key message here, although let's hope that some of these major companies take you up on that as well. Associate Professor Nalin Arachchilage is from the School of Computing Technologies at RMIT. Thank you for discussing the Origin Energy data breach with us.
Thank you for having me here.
News